everyone, and welcome to the District 7010's April 5th, get this, Frankie's Friendly Fireside Fellowship Chat. And as the theme for RI this month is environment, tonight we are going to be focusing on the environment. Tonight you will be hearing about some initiatives that the District Environment Committee has been working on, and that we hope to share with you so that you can take it back to your clubs and maybe do something in your clubs with that. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce our presenters today. And when I say your name, just stick up your hand so that we can sort of focus on you. In no particular order, Kathleen Caswell is the treasurer of the Wasaga Beach Rotary Club. She's from District 7010, and she's on the District Environment Committee. Gunter Schubert, he's not waving yet because he's not on yet. He's having a little bit of an issue. He's a member of the Peterborough Kawartha Rotary Club, and he's also on the Environment Committee of the club, and he's from District 7010, and he's also on the District Environment Committee. Graham Wilkins, you wave there, Graham, is a member of, for 2 years, he's a kind of a brand new Rotarian of the Peterborough Club. He's from District 7010, and he's owner of a manufacturing company called Pulaski Boats Limited, and it's situated in Lakefield, just north of Peterborough. Bill Hagborn, past president of the North Bay Club, and he's past district governor of District 7010. Chris Stein, and this person is a guest from another district altogether, and he's from District 7950. He's a Rotarian from the Twin Cities Eco Club, which is what we've been trying to get established in our district. And this club is in Minnesota. So he comes from Minnesota, and he's a park ranger of the U.S. National Park Service. So he's even in his work, he's into environment. And then lastly, me, I'm the past president of the Peterborough Kawartha Rotary Club. I'm the past pandemic district governor, which is very unique in the history of Rotary. And I'm the current District 7010 environmental chair. So just a few housekeeping rules before we go too much further. Before we begin, could we have everyone mute themselves to eliminate any background noise? We would appreciate that. Due to our tight agenda, we will not be taking questions during the presentations. However, if you have a burning desire to ask one of the presenters a question, please write it in the chat, and you can see it at the bottom of the screen where it says chat. Just click on the little chat icon and you can write your question in there if you want to do it that way. And Bill Hagborn will be monitoring the chat room, or you can ask your questions at the end of the presentation in Q&A. Okay, this session is going to be recorded, so if you do happen to miss something that you really want to see again, you will be able to review it again on the District 7010 website, and Bill can probably tell you after how to do that. Well, not probably, he can, because he organizes the whole thing. So without further ado, we're going to start on our agenda for the evening. And the first topic that we're going to be talking about is the Rotary District 7010 Water Stewardship Cleanup Initiative. And Kathleen, take her away.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for that opening. I'm going to share my screen here because, so yeah, it's just you know me, I'm from the Wasaga Beach the Wasaga Beach Rotary Club. Glad to be here. And yeah, I'm just going to share my screen. Can everybody see that? Yes. Okay, so many of you probably know that in, just want to get rid of this bar at the bottom so that I can put on the, hold on a second. I can put this on full screen ahead. Here we go. Many of you will recall that last year there was a great initiative joining Canada and the US, calling it the Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup. And by this name, you know it was for all of our 5 Great Lakes. So it was well done. It was very well done. Lots of people participated, and we collected a lot of garbage. Yeah,
Just interrupt, Kathleen. If you hit slideshow, it'll become larger. We still seeing all your background.
Oh, because mine's large. Let's see then. Slideshow. That's what I'm doing. How come it's not going large for you? Hold on. Maybe if I stop, hold on, I know what to do. I think if I stop sharing and I just go here, sorry about this. I go here and I go there, and then I go back to you guys and I say share. I'm getting there. And I say this screen. How's that?
Much better.
Thank you for letting me know that. So yeah, okay, I didn't run it through like this. Okay, so the Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup was 7 districts and hundreds of clubs and thousands of Rotarians, and it was done during April and May last year, and it'll be repeated this year. And just so you know, Earth Day in this year is a great day. It's Saturday, April 22nd. So it's very appropriate to be running something on that day, perhaps. But because some of our clubs in our district are not, their watershed does not feed into the Great Lakes, we have our own district cleanup initiative called Water Stewardship, because all water needs to be protected, and a lot of the clubs have their watersheds feeding into other lakes. So that's what we ran last year. All of the clubs within District 7010. And just because I find this interesting, you might not, this is my area, Simcoe County, and you might be able to see all those blue squiggly lines. So that is the watershed that feeds into Georgian Bay. And it's amazing how many tentacles it has. All of our watersheds have so many like wetlands and little tributaries and streams that eventually go to the rivers and eventually out into the water. So my point is that when we're cleaning up something that we think is a roadway or parkland, it could absolutely have some wetland that's eventually going to head for the rivers. And so cleaning up anywhere is important. Especially these days when you're probably seeing some things in the news about a pretty invasive thing that's happening with plastic, and that is microplastics. So these are so small that a lot of them are not even visible, but they are plastic litter that's broken down into smaller and smaller particles, and it is definitely in our water, in our drinking system. So it's in our lakes, it's in our rivers, it's in our drinking water, it's in our bodies, and it's also in fish. So that also gets into our bodies that way. What they're not sure of and what they're studying is what impact that is having on our health, because it's, we're turning into plastic beings because plastic is so pervasive. So that's why, again, it's so important to clean up everything that we can find. Obviously, everything looks better when it's cleaned up as well. But it's amazing how these plastics are breaking down and becoming everywhere. So I want to point out that for any of you, for all of you who have access to it, but the district website has great help for doing your cleanup. I go there whenever I need something. Lately, I've gone there to get safety guidelines for environmental cleanup projects, which are necessary, especially if you're cleaning up around water. Safety is important. They also advise this high visibility. Well, you're only going to see it in my little wee square, but the high visibility vest. Here we go. Rotarian at work. You can see that. So we've all got these high visibility vests, which help for safety as well. And it's got a lot of information out there to help you advertise your event, which is, the main thing we want to do is get people out so we can educate them, work together with the community, and tell them a bit about Rotary while we're at it. So they've got sample media releases. I've used this announcement. It's great for social media. All I did was plug in my club name, the date, which is the one that we're doing this year, and the location, and bingo bango, you have a lovely piece of invitation to invite people out. And this one also we're using this year. Be a solution for shoreline pollution. And it's also, you can see down at the bottom, the Rotary Club, Imagine Rotary. So we are doing a cleanup at the end of April. We're going to skip Earth Day for the cleanup anyway, because we've got other things going on Earth Day, but we're hoping it'll make, there's a chance of it being even warmer by April 30th. Who knows? You never know about April in this part of the world. The other thing you'll find on the website, which is very important, is if your club is going to do a cleanup, which I really hope you are, then we would like to know all about it. We'd like to know, so there's a spot where you can put information into a spreadsheet, and we'd like to know the name of the club, the date you're doing it or did it, the location, what waterway was impacted, if you know, or if there was a waterway nearby. But you can clean up anything, a road, a park, a bicycle path. It's all going to help in that. Often those avenues eventually lead to water through heavy rains, down through our storm sewers, and that all leads out towards the water. How many participants were there, and any odd kinds of items that you might have collected. So when you're going to do your cleanup, please provide this information to us, and you can see the email to send it to is right in the spreadsheet, RI District 7010. What I find is really great when you're planning a cleanup is partnerships. There are so many organizations that you can contact and have them help with your cleanup. We have the ones that are suitable for my area. Georgian Bay Forever is fabulous. Their mission is to educate. So when we run a cleanup, they come out, they tell us all about the projects that are going on. They actually categorize all the litter. So for example, last year or a couple of years ago, they determined that there was a lot of styrofoam coming into the shore, and they realized that it was coming from old docks. And so they put a bill before Parliament, which was passed, asking that all new docks must be encapsulated. So it was really, worthwhile to see what could be done to stop some of this harmful plastic hitting our waterways. And you can reach out to youth groups like Scouts and Guides and Air Cadets and reach out to the town itself, and we have a youth center in town that the town runs. So that's another great place to find young people. And the clubs around town, hiking, biking, gardening, nature clubs, snowmobile clubs, anybody who's out in nature will care about the environment. Schools, of course, especially high schools where they need their volunteer hours. April and May is perfect because they're going to wrap up their year in June, and they have to get their volunteer hours in before they graduate. So if they procrastinated until April or May, they're going to be out because they need their hours. We are very close to Ontario Parks. They kind of manage our beaches, so we partner with them. And Tim Hortons is amazing. I think, partly because what kind of garbage do we find out on our beaches, right? There's a lot of Tim Hortons being drank in town, and the cups are not always put where they should go. So we end up with, but Tim Hortons does care. They don't want their cups to be showing crunched off in a park somewhere. So they have an organization called Pitch In. We are using them ourselves. They'll provide garbage bags and they'll provide all the things you need, as many as you need. And then Tim Hortons is giving us free coffee and free hot chocolate, but you have to bring your own mug because they don't want to see any more of the cups coming their way. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions at the end of all the speakers, I'll be happy to stick around to be here to answer them.
Thank you, Kathleen. That was great information. We really appreciate that. And I'm sure if people want to ask you questions, we can do it at the Q&A at the end. Our next topic is the Monarch Ultra, and Gunter made it in. Where is Gunter? Here he is. Wave, Gunter. Hello. So we're going to turn it over to you, and away you go.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you everybody for being here and your interest in the Monarch Ultra. Bill, could you go and play that little clip for us at this point?
Alrighty, I just have to bring it up here.
In 2019, we did the impossible. We ran from Canada to Mexico. 46 runners for all over North America ran the migration route of the Monarch butterfly, a continuous relay run of 4,300 kilometers in 47 days. The runners faced extreme weather conditions, battled injuries, ran through highways and desolated landscapes, all that with the mission of raising awareness towards pollinator conservation.
Really cool project. So glad y'all are making this happen.
This is amazing.
So privileged to be doing this with the Monarch Ultra.
We really think the Monarch Ultra is a way to connect us, but also to do something positive.
Ellos vinieron desde Canadá para sensibilizarnos sobre la importancia que tiene la ruta migratoria de la mariposa monarca.
Their populations are in steep decline. You know, there's many reasons for that. It's pesticide use, climate change, habitat loss, disease. And it's not just monarch butterflies, it's all pollinators that are in decline. And without them, our food security systems would be hurt, as well as all of our ecosystems. They pollinate 80% of the flowering species on this earth. So without pollinators, in 50 years, we would have nothing.
We ran for the Monarchs then, and we're doing it again this year. The 2021 Monarch Ultra takes place in Canada, beginning in Peterborough and ending 1,800 kilometers and 21 days later in Barrie, Ontario. We want to see massive community involvement, like the ones we experienced in Mexico, when hundreds of people came out to cheer the runners and join the movement of taking action towards environmental conservation. This year we will be raising money for Ken Kawartha Environment Center in Peterborough. We want to support their fantastic efforts in environmental education. It's a run like no other Canada has ever seen, along the scenic Trans-Canada and waterfront trails, through cities and towns, parks and lake shores. Come and join us, either as a runner, a cheerleader, or as an environmental advocate. We need your legs, your voice, and your presence to tell the whole country that we care about our natural environment.
Thank you, Bill, for running that for us. As you saw already in this short clip, the Monarch Ultra started, we did our first run in 2019. It was to raise awareness and to raise awareness about what's happening to all our pollinators, especially the monarch butterflies. And one of the co-founders, Carlotta James, she came up with the idea. She wanted to do something. She noticed that there was a real depletion in butterflies back in 2018 or so. And after a couple of years of planning, we then did run from Peterborough all the way down to Mexico. We had an old banged up RV. I was driving the truck and cooking for the team. And as Carlotta already said, we had 47 runners running 4,300 kilometers through Canada, US, and Mexico to raise awareness. So we went to schools, we met with politicians, we met with media, environmentalists, just to spread the word and raise awareness. So that was 2019, and as already you've heard, in 2021, we couldn't run again to Mexico because of COVID. This time we just did it in Canada, 1,800 kilometers. But then COVID got so bad that we could not even see schools, and you know, we had very little contact with the public. But nevertheless, we went through with it, and we did as good and as well as we could. So that was 2019, 2021. In 2022, we were invited. When we were in Mexico, we made some great contacts in the city of Zitácuaro, which is also known the butterfly capital of Mexico. And that's where most of the butterflies go to. The city is in the bottom of the valley, and then of course up in the mountains, that's where the butterfly sanctuaries are. And they were holding the second annual butterfly festival. We went there for 3 days. We attended several meetings and symposiums. We did a lot of, watched a lot of music, a lot of dancing. It was a wonderful event, but we made some really great contacts. And one of the people we met was a gentleman who leads Nación Verde. Nación Verde took it up on himself to plant trees. As I'm sure you know, one of the problems for the butterflies is habitat loss. And what's happening in Mexico right now, they're cutting down many, many trees up in the mountains, partially for lumber, but also to have some more property for avocado growing. So it's a state of Michoacan, and that's where most of the avocados come from that are sent to the US. So it's a cash crop, and butterflies is not really a cash crop for them. So that's one of the problems. And they've planted 200,000 trees last year, and they're planning to plant 1 million trees this year and next year. So we've took it on now. We are raising awareness and also raising funds for that project. So this coming fall in 2023, in October 15th, we will have a butterfly festival in Peterborough and also a run. But instead of running the big long ultra run, we are just doing a 10-kilometer run so more people can participate, and the runners will raise funds for the tree planting then. So that's happening. And then we will have another run in Milwaukee, where we have met somebody at the 2019 run. So we have a good relationship with somebody there, and they will also organize a run. And another run will be in Mexico in Zitácuaro. So for us, this year, 3 runs, 3 events to raise awareness. We're planning to go big on social media and get the word out there that people need to get involved and know about this issue, because it's just happening and it's getting worse. In the last 20 or 30 years, we've lost about 80 to 90% of monarch butterflies. So this is alarming. There used to be acres and acres of the sanctuary with butterflies, but it's really dwindling down. So that's that problem. What else do we have? No, I think that's about everything. I really sort of pushed it all together into a very short presentation, but it is really, what can you do? What can all the individual people do about it? You can plant a garden, a pollinator garden. Many places, like in Peterborough as well, we have a whole number, about 45 or 50 pollinator gardens throughout town, and new ones are always planned. And Rotarians are getting into it. In Peterborough, we're looking right now at putting a pollinator garden into a youth shelter. And we encourage, of course, everybody to plant plants and flowers at home in their own garden, instead of grass, or partially keep some grass, but plant some pollinator friendly flowers as well. Another good thing you can do is there's the no mow May. No mow May basically means let the flowers in the lawns grow a little longer in the spring, and that's the time when a lot of the pollinators will go and feed on those plants and on those flowers. But if you mow it and cut it down as soon as it comes up, they will be gone. All these flowers are gone, right? So that's one thing that people can do. People also can go and send letters to politicians and urge politicians to have stronger environmental laws against pesticide, because pesticides is also a huge problem for the butterflies. It obviously also for the bees, pesticide kills them. So getting rid of the best pesticides, habitat loss are the big ones. Of course, also climate change comes in. Severe weather kills them, as they migrate from the north to south or vice versa. So there's not much we can do. I mean, this is a huge problem, but for now, everybody can go and plant a garden and look and care for the bees and the butterflies and talk to your neighbors and write letters to the politicians. So if you have any more questions, perhaps at the end of the show or the talk, I can answer them for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gunter. A lot of information there. Good information. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
The
Lynn.
next topic on the agenda, it segues right nicely into Chris's talk, and he's going to be talking about Operation Pollination. Take it away, Chris.
Yeah, that really segues beautifully into this next talk. And I just want to say I've really enjoyed Kathleen and Gunther's presentations. But as Rotarians, I know you like to take quizzes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start with a quiz. And the answer to the quiz is right in the center of this photo. And you should all be experts by now. But here is the question to the quiz. Again, the answer is right in the center of the photo. What and where is this? What and where is this? Right in the center of the photo.
Mexico, forest.
That's right. It's the forest in Mexico, the forest that Gunther was just talking about. And that orange on the trees is actually monarch butterflies. Millions and millions of monarch butterflies. And I only start out my presentation, which is called Operation Pollination, with the monarch because it is such an iconic pollinator species. Gunther, I can't wait till you speak to the Operation Pollination ambassadors about your ultra. We'll have to talk more about it. But I just wanted to just show you right in the beginning that, as Gunther mentioned, pollinators are in steep decline. The monarch has declined by more than 80% since the 90s. As you can see from this graph, this bar graph, the monarch population is now actually this year, it's actually 20% less than that 2.84. It's 20% less than that. This is the number of hectares in those trees in those Mexican forests. Scientists believe that the eastern monarch population needs to maintain at least 6 hectares to be able to continue into the future. So as you can see, the past several years have not been so good for the monarch. As I mentioned, this program is not about the monarch, but I wanted to start with that segue because it shows you the status, or gives you the status of at least one species of pollinator. So I want to thank you for inviting me to tonight's presentation. And I want to tell you about an environmental framework that you can activate wherever you live, all across the globe, except in Antarctica, where we don't have any pollinators. This project that I'm going to talk to you about is an SRAG project. I think all of you on this call know that SRAG is the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, and I'm one of the leaders behind this framework. So what is it? Well, number one, it is a framework. It is not a particular project, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's a framework designed to help Rotary and other organizations recruit an array of partners who want to engage in the framework's 2 goals, which are habitat restoration and education. Pollinators, you're an educated group on the environment, so you know that they are essential for our food. And this is what our grocery stores would look like if it were not for the free environmental services provided by pollinators, also called ecosystem services. incredibly, 85% of the plants on the planet, 85% of that green on the planet is pollinators are responsible for the reproductive success. It's just incredible. But since the 1970s, just in all of our lifetimes, pollinators have declined worldwide by more than 40%. This is across the globe, more than 40% worldwide. And there is the reference for that statistic. That biological conservation article is a compilation of over 60 scientific papers on the status of pollinators. So there's good scientific background behind this. So in 2022, right in the middle of the pandemic, SRAG came to me and they asked if, in 2020, SRAG came to me and asked if Operation Pollination could be adopted by Rotary. I said yes, and in 2022, SRAG, the mothership, adopted Operation Pollination as a full-flung initiative. Here's how it works. It's really simple. There is the website, and I'll send this out to Lynn. I may have done it already. And Lynn, if you can share it with everybody, that would be appreciated. But there's the website, srag.org/pollinators. You all know that Operation Pollination has two goals. If you scroll down on that website, you'll come to a pollinator resolution. Your district has already, 7010, not all your districts, 7010 has already decided to be a part of this. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Lynn and Gunther. You'll find a resolution. It's just a simple one-pager. Your district governor has already signed a resolution. So you don't have to worry about that, because once the district governor has signed, all clubs in the district are covered by this resolution, or Operation Pollination Partnership, as it's sometimes called. Then as a club president, and please promote this to your club presidents, if they want to sign a pollinator pledge, they can do so also on that website. And here it is. It takes, just a couple minutes to fill out. And this is what the club presidents sign. And what they choose to do, remember I said Operation Pollination is a framework. It's not a project per se, but what they choose to do is up to them. In fact, they could do nothing. Like Gunther was mentioning, no mow May. They could put on the pledge, every Rotarian in our club is going to abide by no mow May, and let our lawns grow some plants that will provide a nectar source for pollinators. So everybody can be involved in this by doing absolutely nothing aside from signing the pledge. So after District 6450 in Chicago signed a pollinator resolution in 2021, just a little over 2 years ago, February 2021, district leaders, club leaders across the globe are signing these resolutions or pollinator partnerships. We now have partnerships signed in Canada, Ontario, Manitoba, British Columbia, many states in the United States, Mexico, India, Australia, England, Scotland, Wales, and even Kenya. We have a resolution recently signed. Jennifer Jones, our current Rotary International president, she signed. I happened to be at this signing down in Evanston. That's me on the far right. But Jennifer Jones did a series called Monarch Mondays that you may be familiar with. It was on Facebook back in November, Monarch Mondays. You can look it up. And at that presentation, we had all these district governors elect, district governor nominees, PDGs from the Great Lakes area around Chicago. They all signed the resolution as well. In fact, it's really gaining momentum. This just happened on March 9th in Kalamazoo, Michigan. This was the Great Lakes Pets, Michigan and Northern Indiana. And our Rotary International president-elect, Gordon McAnally, he was there and he signed too. That's our new Rotary International president as of July, in the bright tie to the right of the guy sitting in the center. So that's Gordon McAnally, our new Rotary International president. In fact, Gordon has now signed a resolution or a partnership 3 times. This is the current status in the Great Lakes area. We're trying to get everybody involved. 7010 is the first district in Ontario to get involved. Please, I'd love to get your other districts that you work with involved in this as well. We're trying to make this a Rotary movement. These are the current districts that are involved to date. There's over 50 of them. And I just want to reemphasize that this is a framework. It is not a specific project. However, by district governors signing onto that framework, it leads to projects. It leads to presidents committing to do on-the-ground projects. And these are all projects from different places around the world, primarily garden projects that Rotarians have done this past year. We also have a group of Operation Pollination ambassadors. We now number almost 90. Lynn and Gunther are ambassadors. Thank you very much. But they're people who can help your presidents get engaged in projects. Also, I want you to know that I am totally at everyone's service. I'm just an email message away. I'm also there to help everybody if they want to get involved in pollinator protection. So in closing, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Here is my email address and my phone number. That is the web address if you want to get involved. And I think I want to close with a little bit of pollinator humor, which I think you'll all appreciate. Give you a second to take a look. I see some smiles, but again, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And if you want more information, I know this is kind of quick, but if you want more information, just feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Again, an excellent framework for all of us to get on board with, and it's such an important initiative. So thank you very much, and we're going to be working with you throughout the next few years at least anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to it, and thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Gunther, and everyone.
Okay, the fourth thing on our agenda is the Rotary Environment Initiative Fund. And I'm going to let Graham take over from here. So Graham, the floor or the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn and Richard, for inviting me to outline a brand new program that we started in Peterborough in the fall. As Lynn pointed out, I'm a relatively new Rotarian, but I joined the Environmental Sustainability Committee for our club in July, and our committee chairman challenged us to take up the words of Jennifer Jones and how could you be inspired to make a difference for the environment. I was happy to say that our club was already involved in the watershed cleanup last year and the pollinator gardens. So we were looking for something different. And so the idea that we came up with, there was a group of us, and we came up with the idea of doing a variation of the 100 businessmen or business women's associations that we'd been familiar with in our own community, except we would target a similar organization specifically for the environment. So we came up with the idea of the Rotary Environment and Innovators Fund. It was, we would attract 100 environmental champions within our club and community. Each of them would be asked to contribute $100, at least $100 to the fund. The goal would be that we would raise this fund of, in its first year, $10,000. We would then reach out to the community. In our community, we have both a community college and a university with environmental programs. We would solicit innovators, as we call them, which basically people who are working on some environmental initiative that needed some support to move it from an idea or from a drawing board or something that was being worked on in somebody's garage into something that could have more impact. So the idea is we match the experience and some financial backing of Rotarians with the enthusiasm and the new ideas of people with new and different environmental ideas that could have an impact. So we created the fund. We went out to our club, supported it first. We've reached out to the other clubs in Peterborough. So there are 3 clubs ideally working on this project together. We've in our first year, we've managed to surpass our $10,000 goal. We are right now at the point where we are assessing the 16 applications we've received from innovators. We are narrowing it down to just 5 of the 5 best innovator applications. We are using the strength of a few environmental experts to help us narrow down that focus. At a final event at Camp Cortha, which Gunther showed on his slides, is a place that is known for environmental awareness. Their building, where we'll be holding the event, is an environmentally sustainable building. And so we'll be having an awards ceremony where we give an opportunity for the champions and the innovators to meet together. We give them, each innovator is going to get a $3,000 fund to spur their activities. And the real opportunity is for the champions and the innovators to meet each other and network and really get excited about the projects that we're going to support. I'll backtrack a bit and say that the champions, in addition to providing their financial support for this, will also be involved in selecting the top 3 innovators. So that's a unique feature of this fund. It's really an opportunity for the champions to be involved in reading the applications, voting on it. We're going to use basically a scoring system so that all the champions have a chance to be involved in the selection of the top 3 innovators. We also managed to reach outside of our club members. We've done a really good job of getting community members involved. We have companies who are corporate champions. And in particular, in Peterborough, we're lucky that Trent University has an environmental market initiative where they've put aside 85 acres for environmental startups. It's called Clean Tech Common. I encourage you to look this up because it's quite an exciting innovation within the community at Trent. Is supported by the city of Peterborough. They came on board as they are now our corporate partners in this fund. They are really the reason why we surpassed our fundraising goal in our first year for the fund this year. And Martin Yule, their executive director, has been a huge influence both in helping us find innovators and just the enthusiasm and knowledge he brings to the whole process of selecting and attracting innovators to give us applications. So at the end of the day, it's a project that we see that possibly could be repeated in other areas. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We are focused on making this project work within our community in its first year. We really haven't got to the point where we know exactly how a template might look so that other clubs in other areas could duplicate the program. But we're quite excited about the idea of having an opportunity for a group of within a community, including Rotarians and non-Rotarians, working together to give a spur for environmental initiatives that start out as something small. You really have no idea what impact they might have as they get a little bit of support from us and from the mentoring they're going to receive from Rotarians. And the result is we don't know. Not every project that we fund will turn out to be something sustainable, but it gives everybody a chance to, we pick the top 3 that we feel have the most potential. We feel lucky that we have 16 to choose from in the first year. And we feel out of the ones that we support this year, there will be some that will really make an environmental difference in the first year of the program. So I think that's it. I will, in the chat, I will include we've got a website for the Rotary Environmental Innovators Fund. It's called, it's the REEF. And I'll give you the website link so you can go to our website, and it's got its own website. It explains how somebody becomes a champion. It explains how somebody makes an application to the fund, and then the process through which for this year will culminate with the awards event on April 27th. And I'm happy to announce that our district governor, Richard, I presented him with this idea about a month ago, and within about an hour of me sending him the information, he became a champion. So, and he's coming to our event on April 27th, I believe. So, so we feel in our first year, it's been a very successful start, and we hope with suggestions, we'll be able to transfer this to other clubs going forward. So that's my presentation.
Thank you, Graham. That was a great presentation. Plus, it's a great initiative for, especially considering you were Rotarian for only 2 years. So thank you for very much for sharing this with us. And I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions for you. So the next thing on our agenda is our district environment page. And I was wondering if, Bill, you could bring that up now. I don't know if you know this, people from District 7010, but our District Environment Committee has a wonderful web page on the district website. And we've been trying to sort of steer people to this district website for a number of years now. And it gives you an awful lot of information that we try to keep up and current. And you can click on any one of these sites here, for example, the Water Stewardship Cleanup Initiative, the Monarch Ultra. So it gives you so what I would like you to do with your clubs is to steer people to this site, and they can learn a lot of information about what they in their clubs and individually they can do to help the environment. The Monarch Ultra is there. Chris was talking about, yeah, there it is, all there. This was, I think it's up to date now. We just made it up to date, March 2023, so it's all up to date. So you can look for information there. And Operation Pollination, Chris was just talking about this, and this is where you go if you want your clubs to sign up. So there's a lot of information there. They just have to read it. There's a pollinator guide at the bottom of this page. It shows you, if you don't know how to plant a pollinator garden, here is a guide that is from the district's 5060, that if you click the little arrow on the bottom, it opens this little booklet on why you should plant a pollinator garden and how you can go about doing it. And even though it's not from our district per se, pollinator gardens are the same everywhere. So you can plant a pollinator garden using this guide. So there's a lot of information there. And let's go over to the left, protecting the environment, opportunities for Rotary and the planet. So there's information here, there's videos, preserving planet Earth. So there's information, there's a Vimeo, customized player. So you can look at some of these things, more from SRAG videos. And if we go back to the website, then the evening talk shows, I don't know if protecting the environment. So there's just a lot of information here. Georgian Bay Forever, you can click on that and see what that's all about. The Rotary Club of Kapuskasing, they look after a trail up in Kapuskasing. And last year I kind of followed them on their website. And it was very interesting, and all the work they put into establishing and maintaining, which is important, a trail. They put signs, they made signs, they put signs up, and focused on the safety of walking the trail. Native tree fundraiser. This is a fundraiser to maybe clubs can buy trees and plant trees,
Julie
because
McLaughlin
obviously we
is
need
from the-
trees. Oh, there I am. And if we can go back up, Bill, to the top. And I would just like to go on to the District 7010 Environment Committee. Oh, down, Environment Committee right here. So if you want to know or get in touch with anybody on the District Environment Committee, here we are here, and this is our contact information. So if you did want to hear from us about anything in particular, you can click on this. Now, the other member of the District 7010 Environment Committee is Steve Vickers. He was unable to take part in tonight's session, but if you go to our pets in North Bay, between the I think he's speaking on the 15th, he's going to be doing the environment session at the pets or Rotary weekend. So you'll be able to hear from him. So I just wanted to show you this because it is here. There's a lot of information, and please encourage your clubs to look on it. It's very easy to get to here. You go to the home page, the district home page, go to your projects, drop down, and there's the environment page right there. And it's Bill makes it very, very easy for everybody. So I encourage you to go to that, and a lot of questions can be answered here. So I think, thank you, Bill. You can start. Yeah. Now, is there anyone who would like to ask questions? This is our Q&A. Bill, I'll hand it over to you because I think you've been monitoring the chat.
Yeah, District Governor Richard did have a question about if there was a run this year. So I just posted what's coming up on October 15th that Gunter did refer to. And I guess there'll be more details that we'll be posting on that when it's all been put together, right, Gunter?
Yes.
But I guess there's no run this year.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely we will go and bring out some information about that run. It is not an ultra run this time around because we wanted to open up to a lot more people. In the past, it was always just one or two runners running a 50 kilometer leg, but this time it's only a 10 kilometer run, and it's open up to 200 people. So it will be starting in downtown Peterborough in Millennium Park, and we go along the Rotary Trail up towards Trent University, and at the 5 kilometer mark, we turn around. And it's, so as I said, it's a 10 kilometer run, and each of the runners we encourage to do fundraising from their friends in their community, and those funds then will go towards the trees that we want to plant down in Mexico.
Gunter, is
Yes.
this something that other clubs can do in their own communities? Is this something that can be done?
Well, as I said earlier on, Pollinator Gardens are definitely one big help, an awareness of people just about what they can do, and that is planting flowers that pollinators like. Of course, also milkweed, as we know, is essential for butterflies, for monarch butterflies, because that's what they feed on, and so. Leave some of it in your garden. Don't rip it all out. It can be a real nuisance, so you can take over if you let it, but maybe somewhere in the corner of your garden, leave a few milkweed plants, and you may even have the luck of having a butterfly lay some eggs, and so you're contributing. And as I said, getting involved just in anything is good for the environment. I mean, what's good for the environment is good for the pollinators, of course.
Thank you, Gunter.
And I did put up the link for the innovators, Graham, just from what you'd sent me.
Great, thank you very much.
And a question from Kathleen for Chris. Have you heard of Bee City certification?
You're muted, Chris.
The most famous words of the past couple of years, right?
Yep.
Yes, I have. And there are several other organizations that, like the Pollinator Partnership, the National Wildlife Federation, the North American Butterfly Association, Homegrown National Park. They all have their different, certifications or forms you can fill out. As I put in the chat, SRAGs is found at srag.org/pollinators. And it's the Operation Pollination Resolution and Pledge that I just spoke to you tonight about. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who has questions for our presenters today? Okay, hearing no questions. I just want to thank everyone for coming this evening. I think our committee has done a lot of work. I think our presenters tonight have done an awful lot of work, and they've given us a lot of information. I was so happy that the environment was the latest addition to our very important agenda as far as Rotary goes, because it is so very important to help our environment stay pristine. I just want to thank our presenters tonight. I want to thank Kathleen. I want to thank Gunter. Glad Gunter made it. Chris Stein, Graham Wilkins. I want to thank Bill Hagboard, because if it weren't for him, I don't know what we would do, because he's our technical guru. And I want to thank everyone for attending tonight. And please share what you learned tonight with your clubs, with your district, and hopefully we'll make a difference, one Rotarian at a time. So thank you very much, and have a good evening. I hope it's not too bad
Thank
for you in the weather.